Hey, good day, good Friday, good Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy to be here again with you. And we are here today to talk about some interesting topics. We are going to talk about choosing the right influencer for your business. And before we get into that, also, me and Hanis want to share because we were talking about metaverse just what
Right,
2 days ago, right? So fresh
correct.
in 9 hour, 10 hours ago,
Yes,
Facebook has
so
changed its name.
guess what the name is?
Yeah, guess
If
what the
you don't
name?
know, you would have thought they might be so complicated, right? But actually, looking at the history of how they named Facebook, so they've called the new name Meta after metaverse, So Facebook wants to be more than just a social platform. They want to be a technology company. They want to be more than what we all have expected of them. So they were thinking that, Facebook is just one product that they have, and they want to launch multiple products under the Meta brand. So they have done all their rebranding work very, very quickly. We were just really literally talking about it 2 days ago,
Two
and then
days
they were
ago,
talking about rebranding and things like that, but they're lying to us, right? They must have done this like a long time already been in plan, because
like 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
maybe just a few months ago. I don't know, but they've come up with a live recording last night. I accidentally caught it at 2 a.m. because I couldn't sleep, and
Yeah, I saw you sharing the news at 2 a.m.
yeah, yeah,
in our business group chat.
right. So I was like, oh my goodness. Then I had to share it to everybody, and people were like, what's this? And yeah, I'm sure it's very well planned because the recording was pre-recorded and then published live. So yeah, pretty cool stuff, which I will actually recap in the edited version of our YouTube video, because since we already talked about it Wednesday, right? And we're supposed to do an edited version on YouTube. So I'm gonna add the new elements there. So but today let's just talk about the influencer that you should be working with. All right, Sarah.
With an influencer is such a great idea now because because influencers have influence, people are listening to them, and there are more options now also for influencers for very niche markets, for very specific demographics. You could find almost you could find almost someone for everything. For example, miniature toys. There is an influencer for that. Animal food products. There is an influencer for that. And because also and there are also brands that are successful that are based off influencer marketing. For example, Gymshark. Gymshark is a fitness brand, a fitness
Mm-hmm.
apparel brand, and they promoted their product, their brand through influencers, and they are one of the examples of a success story that uses influencer marketing only to promote their brand.
Yeah.
And because there are so many influencers, you could be confused, or who should I who should I engage with, who is the right person.
Yeah.
So let's go through that. But let's look at some influencers on TikTok, because there are influencers on a lot of different platforms. There's bloggers, right? Celebrities are also influencers, also depending on your budget. If you want to engage with one of the Kardashians, then you could prepare a couple millions for one Instagram post if
Mm-hmm.
you'd like. So these are some influencers on TikTok. So there's Zach King. The ones that I know here aren't many. I know Lisa Koshy. She started on YouTube actually, and then she's still going strong on YouTube. And then Zach King makes funny videos using really cool video editing, special effects editing. Are the influencers in dance. If you know here, I think in my opinion, the biggest one is this one, Addison Rae. So Addison Rae exploded on TikTok, and her TikTok career just went skyrocketed, and now she's in movies and she's hanging out with the Kardashians. So let's talk about how to choose the right influencer. So what are the steps that you should take? Before you go to your computer and start Googling who do I want to hire, before you do that, the first thing you need to do is you need to define your objective. So you need to define your marketing objective. You say, okay, I want to hire this influencer. What for? What is your objective? Because for every marketing campaign, there is a specific objective. For example, is it brand awareness or is it content creation? Do you want to drive more sales for a specific product or a specific service? Do you want more downloads? Do you want more downloads of your app or more downloads of your
Guides.
digital product? Yeah, whatever
Mm.
it is. Do you want more subscribers? Do you want to grow your email subscribers? So is that your goal of engaging with an influencer? Or do you just simply want more followers on social media? So depending on what your marketing objective is, that would make it so much easier for you when you are doing your research to decide what type of influencer do you want. Because if you don't know what you seek to get out of this, then every influencer seems fine, right? Oh, they could offer something, but is it in line with what you want? And the second point is when you are looking for the right influencer is you should look for a relevant audience. So you should look for an audience that is relevant to your target market. All right. So whoever that you are engaging, the influencer, you should look at their followers. You should look at the people who are commenting and following them on their blog and on their social media. Are they your target audience? What's their demographic? What's their age? What's their interest? Would they be interested in your product? So whatever that they share, it should resonate with their followers, which also should resonate with your target market. And now the next step, so the third point, so the first one was define your objective, and the second is look for relevant audience. Now the third is the engagement rate. So what is the engagement rate of the influencer that you are planning to engage in? What is the percentage of their likes and comments and shares, and do they share back? So for these things, right, engagement rate, you can go to a few tools, a few apps that could help you discover or get to know the influencers analytics. Yes. So I'm just going to name four: Sprout Social, Econosquare, Bitly, and FlanX. So you could just Google this. There are a few. There's actually a lot out there. So anyone is fine, depending on your budget. If you have a bigger budget, then you could subscribe to a paid plan, and they could offer more analytics. But using these analytics, then you could see what is the engagement rate for these influencers. Now remember, just because this specific influencer has a lot of followers, million, 600,000, does not mean that they are engaging. For example, someone with 100,000 followers, but then they have 100,000 followers, and then someone with 10,000 followers, and then both has in one post has about maybe 1,000 comments. Okay, let's just put it that way. So when you look at that, if they both have 1,000 comments, but then they have different amount of followers. One is 100,000K, one is 10K. Which one has a higher engagement? So which one? It's the 10,000 one. It's the influencer with less followers than 100,000. So you don't necessarily need the big numbers. Why? Because out of that 10,000, already 1,000 is engaged. So, big numbers, big followers doesn't exactly mean big engagement. So go into the analytics, look at the engagement. How much are people sharing? How much people are viewing? That is the engagement rate.
Also, yeah, we're talking about unusual numbers, right? Sometimes you just see that they have lots of followers, very few actual comments and things like that. So that
or
is
likes.
a red flag for you. Also, sometimes the influencer might have a lot of action for a few days and then no other activity. So you know that sometimes they can actually use bots that follows hundreds of thousands of these people. So these are the influencers that use these bots. And if you look at some of the so-called influencers, their profile sections actually have a trigger for you. You can see that they copy from somebody else, it's not their own. And when you check out their other profiles, their other social profiles, they don't exist. So you have to do your due diligence, right? Also, if they have a lot of comments, like, recently, another partner of mine, we were saying, should we buy an influencer? And I was saying, no, we should not. We have maybe a slow growth rate, but it's actual people who want to see your content, who like to see your content. And you might be feeling around a bit because you might not be sure what kind of content you should be actually putting out there, right? So that's this where you have a trial and error thing, see what works, see what doesn't work. And if you see some of these influencers with lots of comments, and when you go through the comments, they are bots. So
So there's this usually just emojis, right? Emojis or one word like amazing,
emojis,
super.
correct, or even bringing them to sites which is not related, or they're selling some crypto stuff, or things like that. So you need to go through the comments, see whether they're relevant or not. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to just
Yeah,
share.
and have you ever been a bot, Hanis? I mean,
No.
have you been
A
a
bot?
bot? Yeah,
No, I've
so
not.
sometimes when I go to Instagram, a few times
Yep.
I have to do some cleaning up because when I go
Mm,
to my following, I'm
yeah.
following some accounts that I've never followed. I cannot recall to be following. For sure, I do not follow these people or this brand, but I am. So,
I've not checked my. Yeah, I should do my checks then. I
yes.
didn't realize
So
that I could
now,
be a bot.
yeah,
Yeah.
so when I was following thousands of people on Instagram then, I think 1,000 plus, then it was harder for me to clean up. But
Mm-hmm.
then when my old personal Instagram account became private and it came down to 20 and I chopped it all down to 20 followers, it was so much
Mm-hmm.
easier for me to see because sometimes when I go to my followers and following also, there would be, yeah, on my following, I would be following some weird brand selling something that I know for sure I did not follow. So, you would
So
you
we we
become a bot.
we we become a bot without knowing that we're bots. That is so unethical.
Yeah,
Hmm. So Instagram, what are you up to? Okay.
so much they have to do, right, to keep this all safe.
Yeah.
So the next point number 5 to choose the right influencer,
Mm-hmm.
authenticity. Yes, we want to look at authenticity. You can look at the captions and you read, do they convey a story? Do they convey a personal experience? Or in the caption, do they just write, buy these shoes, it's on sale, $20, this website? Or is there some story behind it? Do they write, when I went hiking this one day, I wore these shoes and it made me feel like this, da 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 da. So there's some story to it, and you could feel some connection. That's the authenticity. That's
Mm.
when
They
there's a
weave the
personal.
brand. They weave the brand that they're working for into their own personal story.
Yes, and also if these people, influencers, are already your fans or is already your product user, or they are already your user. So if you are a brand, no matter how big or small you are, because again, depending on your budget, of how much you want to spend on influencer marketing. If you check out the influencer's profile, then you could see what do they share. If they are already using your products, if they have already tagged your products in one of their posts, you're selling you're selling cosmetic products, a face mask, and then you see they did post your face mask, a couple of weeks ago, whenever it is, but then they are already your user. Now that is authentic because they are already your fans. Okay, the next point is when choosing the right influencer is you have to look at the values. You have to look at your values and the Instagram and the influencer's value. Are they aligned? For
Mm-hmm.
instance, if you are promoting
Mm-hmm.
plant-based food, or veggie burgers and such, and it's for vegans and such, would it be wise for you to engage an influencer that frequents barbecues and eats a lot of meat? It will be much wiser for you to engage in probably influencers that are vegans, that are vegetarian, that promote you know healthier eating, whatever that's aligned with your brand's value. If you are selling ethical clothing by the community, and it's fair trade, it's ethical, it's slow fashion, would it be wise for you to be engaging in a top influencer that dresses in fast fashion, that works with
Mm.
other brands that are fast fashion? Okay, the answer is no. Then no, like don't do that. Don't do that. There's a clash there of
Yes.
values.
Example, you are selling a cause where you're supporting an animal sanctuary, so animal cruelty free sanctuary, and
Okay.
then you shouldn't be going for a influencer who wears fur, for example, or hunts for
Yeah.
sports. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Or whatever it is, political views, or religious views, is not their profession, but they
Mhm.
have a certain value or a certain stand in society. If you have to find out all this so it doesn't cause you any problems later. Yeah. Something that's related to your brand also is your style. So if your style is, for example, pure and more clean and professional, maybe it wouldn't be wise for you to engage an influencer that's more funny more funny and probably more provocative, or uses profanity in their posts, which might work for some brands that have the same style or tone.
Correct. Yeah. So, for
Yes.
example, you are selling a luxury perfume, and then you're hiring somebody like Machine Gun Kelly to 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 sell it for you, right? Yeah.
I don't
Maybe
think so.
he might be more suitable for grungy clothings, or musical instruments, or things like that, I guess.
And the last point that I want to talk about is I want to talk about real life. Do you hear some knocking?
Yes, I
Yes,
do.
someone is knocking on my door. Come in. I think it's my child. I did not knock him
Okay.
out. There's someone else there. Come in.
It's violent. Are you sure it's not some a scene from that movie with Jack Nicholson?
The
The
Shining.
Shining.
I still haven't watched it. I still haven't
It's
watched it because
scary.
I'm too scared.
It's
Yeah.
so scary.
And then he was hitting the door with a hammer.
Oh my god.
A toy hammer, don't worry, a toy
Oh,
hammer. So the
okay.
last point in selecting the right influencer is
Yeah.
reliability. Now,
Mm.
Hannes talked about this just now. They they post. They don't. It's not a consistent posting. You see them posting for like 1 week and then another week not being active. No, that's a red flag. And then also when you engage them and when you ask questions, do they respond? Do they respond well, or do they only respond 1 week after? Then probably not so reliable for you to be engaging in them, because these influencers do do rely heavily on their personality. Not to say they don't have managers and such, but a lot of them, they have to create their own content. They have to come up with their captions, because this is what they're good at, right? This is what we're engaging them. Now, if they are not reliable, if they don't come up with the drafts and such in a certain at a certain time,
Time frame.
then yeah, in a certain timeline, then you might think, would they
Yeah.
post at the right time?
Especially for time sensitive launches. You won't want them to just disappear on you when you're supposed to launch on a certain day.
Yeah, yes, exactly. points. Let me just go through them again. One is define your objective or your objective. Second is relevant audience. The third is check the engagement rate. Fourth is authenticity. Fifth is values, and sixth, not seven, I cannot count. Six is reliability. On a lighter note, let's look at some influencer marketing fails that has happened.
Okay.
So this is one influencer marketing fail. So if you recognize him, this is called the sick. And the thing is, if you could see here, let me zoom in for the caption, right? So what the fail here is he copied the direction in the caption. Can you read it, honey?
Here you go, 4 p.m. Oh, right the below. Oh, okay. So he must have engaged with a PR person, and
Yeah.
he just copied the whole thing from what the PR person sent him. Ha!
Aha,
But
isn't
he had
this
enough
funny?
likes. He had 3,000 likes, 3,009 likes for nonsense.
3,900 likes, yes. And he just copied the whole thing. I mean, come on, guys. If you're engaging an influencer, let's not be lazy, okay? Here you go, copy and write the below caption. And it's like, what? What is this? You only had one job, right? But okay. Now, this is a marketing fail in a way that this is an old post. Kim Kardashian is promoting a product, a health product. Now, the reason why this is a fail is because this is a sensitive item. So they're not talking about here. Here, she wrote some things about FD and such, but the argument is it's not information. There's no information about the bad side effects of this. I think it's anti motion sickness pill, something harmless. But then, still, when you are promoting, health supplements, whatever that's a medication, really really important for you to write all the disclaimer necessary as not to spread, yes, as not to spread misinformation, wrong information, misleading. Okay, we don't want to do this, and we
Mhm.
have seen this happen. This happens in Malaysia. Okay,
Ah,
this
yes.
so this happened in Malaysia when Nilofa, this was many, 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 many years ago, not recent, when she
Hmm.
promoted a product and saying that, below 2 years. And this product is, and this product is supposed to, and this is a beauty supplement that's supposed to brighten your skin tone and improve your skin and improve skin elasticity, which is all great probably for me, right? Probably
Hmm.
someone in their 20s and 30s. But you could see that, she promoted it here below
To
2 years, two
children.
years and 6 years. And from this, you could see probably that she was just following, directions and the copy. And you don't want to do this. You don't want
Yeah.
to cause this problem for your influencer that you are engaging, right? Do not, you know, do not ask your influencer to okay, sit down. Do not ask the influencer that you're engaging to share these things. Do your due diligence. The influencer, of course, should be more careful too. But you yourself, as a brand, I want to remind you to be more ethical.
So that's what we're going to cover for today. And as usual, if you have benefited from this session or you've got questions, do leave your comments below. We'll see you every Wednesday, Friday, and if whatever topics you want us to cover, also let us know. We're always all ears. So thank you. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye.